Over the last few months, the eyes of all Ugandans as well as the international community has been on the peculiar case of Dr. Kizza Besigye. From his quote-unquote extradition from Kenya to Uganda to his trial before a military court despite him being a civilian, uh, even following the Supreme Court's decision in regards to civilians not being tried before military courts, to his now slightly over week-long hunger strike, which has led to his hospitalization. The country and the world at large is on look to this particular case a mirror of our human rights, of the status of our human rights in this country, but beyond that, a mirror of the state of basic humanity in this country, where a man is denied access to basic medical health facilities. Today, to discuss this topic in regards to the concept of freedom for all Ugandans with a case study of Dr. Kizza Besigye, I have an illustrious panel of esteemed individuals who have come to discuss this matter, and I shall introduce them from my immediate left coming in. On my immediate left is Miss Piloya, Barbra Nyeko, a lawyer and an NRM youth leader. Good afternoon, Barbra, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to you. I'm so happy to be here.
We're extremely happy to have you. Next to her is Miss Nancy Carolina Ayot. Nancy is a lawyer as well as a writer and a feminist. Good afternoon, Nancy, and welcome to the show.
Thank you again.
Thank you for, as usual, joining us. And then right next to me is a figure we must all be familiar with, Honorable Miria Matembe. She is a senior citizen. Welcome to the show, Honorable.
Actually, she's the one who is immediate risk.
Yes.
So now people are surprised, hey, did Matembe change the name? I'm happy to be here, as sometimes I am, to discuss these painful issues, and so I'll talk.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable. We look forward to hearing you talk. Nancy, let me start with you. I have given a brief highlight of the case of Dr. Kizza Besigye, but I would like you to slightly delve deeper into it. How did you reach there from his, and I use the term quote-unquote extradition from Kenya because we're not certain of the legal dynamics surrounding that particular matter, to where he is right now on a hunger strike. Initially, he was denied, his medical doctors say that he was denied access to him, and eventually this led to him having to be brought to a clinic in the middle of the night.
Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in today again. I think over the course of the last few weeks, we've been discussing this case in various formats. We started with the trial of civilians in military courts and the legal implications around it. We also discussed the Supreme Court decision some time back. But if we must know, Dr. Kizza Besigye went to Kenya through very formal channels. He went with his passport, got it stamped, and all those things. And he went to Kenya for a book launch, and then he disappeared. He disappeared from Kenya, and around 72 hours after his disappearance, his disappearance, his spouse, Honorable Winnie Byanyima, took to her Twitter to say that Dr. Besigye had been kidnapped from Kenya by Ugandan security forces with the help of Kenyan security forces, and he's being detained in a military facility. Shortly after that, if not that very afternoon, if not the very next, I think it was that very afternoon after her tweet came up, Dr. Besigye was presented before the General Court Martial, and some of the charges do not exactly make sense, because ideally civilians are not what previously, before the Supreme Court ruling, the civilians could be tried in the military court if they were helping army persons commit crimes, or in possession of firearms and all that. And that is the section under which he was brought, the section of the UPDF Act 117, which he was brought before the General Court Martial. But when he was first presented, there was no mention of a witness until the next hearing, when the witness was brought, and they said this person was colluding with Dr. Besigye and to commit treason, literally. it's not very clear. Some of the charges are not exactly clear because, you know, it didn't happen within the jurisdiction of the country, so we don't even know under which orders or legal provisions he was extradited from the country. He is not even legally in Uganda yet. If you think about it.
Yeah.
He's not even legally in Uganda yet. And since that time, I think there have been speculations. And you know, this case gained wide attention because of the people involved in it. The Lord Mayor Arias Lukwago, who is one of the senior lawyers on the case, but also Honorable Martha Karua from Kenya, who is one of the lawyers. And I believe that we saw them do their work. We saw how her process of applying for a license to practice in Uganda was frustrated until, you know, a lot of pushback from the public came in. And then comes the Supreme Court decision, which was already pending over a long period of time, and all the judges ruled in favor of Ugandans. I say that because they said that the military courts are not competent to try civilians or to try anybody at all, because they do not meet the requirements to deliver justice or a fair trial to anybody at all, and they were reduced to a tribunal, a disciplinary tribunal at that. So now speculations turned to whether or not people would adhere to the orders of the Supreme Court, which I believe were very clear. And for me, one of the most surprising things was the response, of course, of the Commander-in-Chief. I say Commander-in-Chief because I believe the President replied as the head of the army, not as the President of the Republic of Uganda. And he said that they would take this back to Parliament
to have a revision.
To have a revision. However, I don't even understand how that would be possible, because in my understanding, from my understanding of the law, from my 4 years of training, I know that Article 92 states that the decision of the court cannot be taken back for litigation. I'm paraphrasing.
For legislation. Yes,
for real legislation, literally. So I'm wondering how that would be possible. But you know, as the speculations continued, the NRM caucus went and met as well, and it gives us a funny vibe, because we get a bit of deja vu. We know that whenever the caucus meets just before the president wants a certain law passed, it's most likely going to pass like that. And the speculations continued. The Attorney General was summoned before the floor of Parliament, and he said that he would direct the DPP to handle the transfer of the cases from the military court to the civilian courts. Now, in my understanding, that nobody can order the DPP to transfer to handle certain cases. So I don't know what type of power struggle is going on here, or what type of channel bureaucracy everyone is following, and also reflecting back, Besigye was denied food from his family, and Besigye's spouse again, Winnie Bianima, came in and said that, you know, they might want to poison him. She stated it. She was like, his life is in danger. They may want to poison him, and the CDF General Muhoozi came in and said he was going to hang the good doctor on Heroes Day. And he talked about, I think over time he has talked about the many ways he could get him killed, or how he would pay for his crimes. I don't know, because the crimes have never been clear to begin with. Now we've come to a situation whereby they were supposed to have released this man already, in my opinion, because he needed to see a doctor, and it feels like another case of deja vu, because we know that even Honorable Muhammad Segidunya went through the same thing, and it's such a funny coincidence that he also just died. And we know that the reason why he died is because he didn't receive the medical attention that he needed on time. That by the time they took him, it was just damage control, and everything was beyond the doctors. This was a man who went on camera and put his leg during a trial to show the rot, to show how much medical attention that he needed during that time. And I remember a lot of naysayers coming in and saying, oh, it cannot be that deep because the man just wants to get out of prison. And since that time, you know, I don't think people were taking it seriously. But now seeing Dr. Besigye in person, because he's also on trial for another case of inciting violence, he's probably one of the people who has been most arrested in this country and detained. And during that case, he didn't first appear for the hearing on a Tuesday, and the judge ordered appearance. The reason why he didn't appear was because he said he was feeling sick. Now, when he appeared before this magistrate, is when everyone saw his condition and the uproar began. And yesterday, Dr. Prisby, the government spokesperson, went on UBC TV, the national TV, to say that he had visited Dr. Besigye, and his condition was not that serious. He said it was not that serious. He had seen him and he cancelled him to eat food because it's a hunger strike causing this, and there's a lot of controversy around his case, and people should not be alarmed, the public. And I am telling you, because I was on TV, just 30 minutes into that interview of his with UBC, there was a headline that said that Dr. Besigye had been taken for emergency care at a facility in Bugolobi. So right now, I think we're in a state of confusion because nobody understands what everyone is doing. They're saying the DPP is trying to expedite the process of transferring the cases. They're saying that they gave Dr. Besigye the medical care that he needed, but his family is saying otherwise. They're also saying that he isn't that sick, but you know, to the naked eye, the man is dying. So the legal processes, I don't think it's the legal processes that matter right now, because this is a human rights red flag. It has been from the very beginning, and the sheer fact that it has to get to this point for anyone to actually take action is such a shame.
That is true. It is a complete shame. Thank you so much, Nancy. Barbra, very interestingly, Nancy brings up a significant point. This is in regards to the president's comments. I believe he released a statement that said, quote unquote, the wrong decision of the Supreme Court. Taking into account the fact that the Supreme Court stands as its own arm of government, independent of influence from the judiciary, from the executive rather. And so he doesn't just go on to do that. A statement is made that says that the General Court Martial is going to continue hearing these cases. You know, complete contradiction to the Supreme Court's cases. And then we have seen this occur, right? We thought, oh, maybe certain decisions would be made before that, but we have seen it occur. Right now, Dr. Kizza Besigye's case is continuing before the General Court Martial in a rather sad contradiction to our legal processes. So I wanted to ask you, what does this say about the state of governance in this country? Exactly where do we stand? Do we still have a judiciary? Has there been a power shift overnight that we were completely unaware of, that transferred our power, because for years we've been speculating about whether or not we are existing in a democracy or a judiciary, or rather a dictatorship, but now things
You've been
more
speculating.
People
You are provoking me to shout out.
Yes, people have been
You
speculating.
say it what you say. Who is speculating? Who doesn't know? Let's call facts.
So Barbra,
Continue and ask her.
especially considering your particular, and this is something you say that you're very proud of, your NRM affiliation. Where are we standing as a nation now in regards to our governance?
Well, thank you for this question. But I think taking us back to the way Kizza was arrested, I think I'm going to start from there. Because you see, in as much as I subscribe to a certain umbrella, doesn't mean that I'm going to go by and say that wrong is right. Right is supposed to be right and wrong is supposed to be wrong, and we should stand out to say that this is what and this is how it's supposed to be. Dating back to how Kizza was arrested in Kenya, we have policies that actually guide us and at international law.
Yeah.
Why would a foreigner be arrested? I think this question was actually also asked by Miss Martha, who said why she was trying to question the Kenyan government. Why would a Ugandan be arrested? They would allow a Ugandan be arrested, even back in Kenya. You know, so this already speaks to a lot of irregularities that were not quite right. But again, bringing us back to Uganda, now he's arrested and he's taken to a military court. We know that he was once, yes, a colonel, yes, retired, but now is just any other person. Why would he be taken to a military court for trial?
Mm-hmm.
Does that speak to Article 28 of, you know, it was as if they already saw him, you know, they presumed that he was already guilty before him, you know, realizing his guilt. So what happens to the presumption of innocence? It's also another question that will be asked. Now, in regards to our judiciary, is it supposed to be independent, or is it supposed to be merged with other arms of government? Speaking about this, we see that sometimes it's quite inevitable, because even these people are appointed, they're given this authority, and I mean, you're my boss, and so you can actually order me to do anything. So this means that we are not going to realize the justice that Kizza is supposed to realize. So speaking to the way he has been handled, I want to think that we cannot just speak much into probably an individual that is not really supposed to be in certain position. So I would actually say that from the onset, the procedures that were taken was not really right. So a right thing is supposed to be done right, whether you subscribe to a particular you know, let's say organ or not. Let's say I am not in the judiciary, but I am going to say that let the right thing be done. Was he supposed to be taken to the military court? It was his health was detrimental. We were supposed to look at it first. That can we find ways of helping him before he dies out? My colleague talked about his wife being denied to give him even food. What has the judiciary to say about that? Or what has the public to say about such a person that has been detained? It's speaking to humanity, just like earlier on Dr. Miria initially said, that we have to speak about humanity. There are things that we do not even need to first bring in the judiciary or any other arms of government, but we have to talk about, what if it is you? What would you have to say about this? Someone already, his life is in danger, so we have to look at the nitty-gritties before we look at that. It's all I can say. Okay,
that's very interesting. You said something very, very pertinent, that there will be no realization of government. Before that, you mentioned that, of justice rather. Before that, you mentioned that, is the judiciary really independent, or it's merged with other arms of government? Judicial independence simply means that, truly, it's true our judges are appointed by the executive, but even after appointment, their judgments should be, and their judgments should be made solely for the deliverance of justice to the people. And when their decisions are made, they ought to be upheld. That is the basic structure of judicial independence. We have seen a judgment that Nancy has termed as one for the people being delivered by the Supreme Court. And we have seen it be crassly denied by the executive. There's no concept of judicial independence in that dynamic, from a basic aisle, right? But you really touched on it. So what you're saying, and I just want you to be very clear about it, is that we do not have a functional judiciary right now, a functional independent judiciary right now. Best of all.
But if I may come in this matter, because me, I'm listening as if you are discussing. Maybe other people are diplomatic. Me, I don't go into diplomacy. I mean, I don't see, because you as women, it seems why you are fearing or you are scared to speak the truth, call a spade a spade. And that's why I see you saying Besigye was arrested. Which arrest? You know very well Besigye was abducted. She was abducted from that country and brought here and hidden in a court martial until the wife announced. You know very well. And you all know very well that the charges that have put against Besigye, that's why I say it is not clear. We are not sure. Indeed, you are not sure. Which charges were put against him? Which are they? So for me, I want to say, let you ladies, if you come here and discuss as if you don't know what is happening there, or maybe you are fearing in case you speak, call a spade, they will come, you will lose your jobs and that kind of thing. At this time, this is a time when if we are to discuss this issue, we should be straight. Do they call it point blank? I mean, I don't know, all of you must be feeling terrible about what is happening to this man. All of you, and in your talk, you should be talking in such a way to say, no, enough is enough. Don't start hiding anything or discussing law. Which law? Which law are we talking about? For me, what I want to say, that as far as I'm concerned, it is not even just Besigye. I want to say that Besigye now has come up as a sacrificial lamb. I mean, a sacrificial, is it a lamb? But behind there, it is a revelation of how the people in Uganda have been suffering. It is not just Besigye. He suffered, he started long ago. I mean, we've been talking about Besigye, and this is a man who fought with Museveni in the bush. This boy whom I see saying that this son of Museveni, saying that the judiciary should come and apologize to him. This nonsense I hear did not go to the bush. It was Besigye who went to the bush together with President Museveni. They knew why they were fighting. And when they reached here, and Besigye realized that actually what they were fighting for, the plan for Uganda, has been diverted. I saw the first son saying, when he said that for us, because the UPDF is the foundation of economic and social transformation, and he said, we cannot compromise on the agenda of UPDF, as if he was in the bush beginning UPDF. Who was in the bush? Who knew the agenda of the UPDF? Who knew it more than Besigye? And I saw him saying, we cannot compromise on this. So what is it? This is a new agenda. The new agenda of UPDF to take over this country, take over the governance of this country. I think even last night, I saw these people with their training, what? I saw on TV that the CDF drill competition. I don't know what it means, but instead it was showing you that actually the CDF man has taken over the UPDF. At least if there was some kind of a competition which they want to do, drill competition, then they should have said UPDF drill competition. But the CDF drill competition, which means that even the CDF from Museveni's son has even taken over the UPDF. It is like it is under him. It is under him. And then the other man also, of course, the main one, or the chief, the commander, the Sabarwanyi, you know what they talk. Now, who doesn't know that we have reached a stage really where there are no return, that Uganda is now clearly taken over by the military. Sabarwanyi and his son, they have taken over. We've been telling you that all institutions have been taken over. They took them over long ago, but I see you, it appears. What appears? Who doesn't know what is happening out there? I'm sorry to be here and talk with you young ladies who, for instance, are fearing for your jobs, are fearing to be arrested. But me, I am here, I'm another Besigye also. If you don't know who stand to fight for humanity. Besigye is now, like I told you, the sacrificial lamb. He's there, but behind Besigye, what is happening to Ugandans? If Besigye's case now is opening some of the eyes of Ugandans, then I'm so happy that it is opening them. But as he has always fought for human beings, for our freedom, for our democracy, which took him in the bush to fight together with me. I had my brother Kano Ryangombe, he died long ago. We know all these guys, young people who left here, who were suffering, and they went to fight to redeem Uganda. And when they redeemed and we made the constitution and we said now democracy reestablished, and down the road, the moment the term, constitutional term for presidential term limit, the moment it was removed, that was the end. And if you go into answers, I said in that time, I said, you know what? Only God will redeem Uganda the way you have seen. Because I saw it. And down the road, you see what has been happening. Now, we've told you, please, there is no democracy in this country. It is very, very clear military dictatorship, which has been hiding under the rigid elections and that kind of thing. I mean, which democracy have we seen? You young people, even when Kyagulanyi was contesting with just the last term contestation of president, don't you know what happened? Even some of those Kyagulanyi young people died long ago. Even some of them, we don't know whether they are still in prison somewhere rotting. We don't know where they are. It is not beginning with Besigye. But now Besigye's case, thank God, it is opening up. People, maybe those who were blind, are seeing that surely it is behind Besigye there in you know, we have a proverb in Nyankore. I don't know how to put it there to explain what I want to explain. You see, during our, in Chinyankore culture, when you are children and you would hide in the bush, you want to abuse somebody. You know, today, you know, I don't know whether you have it in your language, where you are abusing somebody. Now they would look for the one who is stubborn more, and they would say, you touch here. And he's touching because he has to. So they would touch, he would touch on the face here. And people behind in the bush are saying, no, they are abusing. Kumbe, this one will come and beat this one who is abusing. But behind him, there were many, they were the people abusing. Now what I want to say, to put it to Besigye now it is like Besigye is doing this in terms of pain, in terms of violation of human rights, in terms of what, but behind him, so many Ugandans are suffering there. So many Ugandans are suffering. And for me, here I am to tell President Museveni that President Museveni and his son are not immortal. They are mortal. They can go anytime. I want to tell President Museveni that he needs a human heart. I've never seen somebody so unhuman. I'm sorry. When it comes to Besigye, somebody who was with you in the bush, somebody who was treating you when you were sick, somebody, can't you have some heart, something in your heart to say, okay, Besigye was planning, maybe they say he was planning to topple the government. But Museveni planned to topple and he toppled the government. Didn't he topple government? If government is bad, if it is doing evil, why shouldn't people plan to topple it? And where is the plan anyway? Let me tell you, you know why we are crying out? You know why we are praying day and night for this man not to die the way he's dying in that prison? Do you know why we are crying and praying? And we don't know. If he thought that Besigye had done a terrible crime, that he was about to topple the government, then let them tell us. Let them tell us. I saw some, you know, I don't read social media, but somebody sent me some photo. When I put it there, video, it was a video, I think, was it Kuraije or somebody who was talking, and it was written there that Besigye actually should have been killed even before going to what? To prison, because what he did was terrible. He was saying, oh, this country would have been shattered by now. I mean, I want to ask really, even if Besigye was planning anything, was it going to all of a sudden and the nation would crash? Would all of a sudden the nation crash? And if that be, let me even ask, when he was here in Uganda, before he flew to Kenya, had he flown to Kenya to go and bring military to overtake Uganda? He had flown to Kenya to launch my sister Martha Karua's book. Now, why didn't they get him here when he was here? If the country was going to crash, why did they leave him? He goes through the airport, he's okay, he goes through the Kenya formalities and so on, and yet the country behind him was about to crash. And now that he's arrested, if he had organized the crashing of this country, when he's arrested, can't the crashers still come and crash it? Especially so to deliver him to peace? So for me, what comes in my mind, you know me, I believe in the word of God. Eh? You know, the word of God says that when God wanted to deliver the children of Israel from the slavery, when he wanted to deliver them from the slavery, he chose Moses to go and deliver them. And you know, he said, I will harden Moses' heart to see that I am great and I'm the one in control. Pharaoh, he said, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. So whatever Moses would tell Pharaoh, Pharaoh would be hardened. All of you know who know the Bible, you go and read and see how it ended. You see how Pharaoh and his hardened heart and his soldiers, how they ended. Me, I'm prophesying you to President Museveni, I'm prophesying to you, you better have a human heart and let this man at least go to a hospital. At least go to a hospital. Do you want to eat his flesh? And your son saying, we shall just kill him in where? We shall bash him, we shall bury him. Will he live forever, this Moses? This Moses. Will he live forever, this Moses? Does he know what his name means? He's Kora who? Is he Kora Besigye who fought for this land? Now for me, I am telling you, President Museveni, enough is enough with your son. You have taken over Uganda. You have swallowed every institution. You have bought everything. But I can assure you, you are not eternal. With your son, you are not eternal. And I'm calling upon you to get a human heart and let Besigye, if he's to die, let him die in his house. Or let him die in the hospital. And be careful, you don't know. If Besigye died in that prison, you can't tell. You can't tell what would happen to this nation. And so for me, my call, I'm not here to discuss legalities and whatever. There is no law in this country. There is no freedom in this country. All these were swallowed long, long ago. But thank God I'm here to tell those who have the authority, the earthly authority. I want to say that it is not by might or by power, but by the Spirit of the living God. Some of us will call upon this Spirit one day. What happened to Pharaoh? You never know what will happen.
Thank you, Honorable. Barbra, I would like to continue with you. When we speak of this dynamic, and Honorable Miria has been very, very frank about the state of this nation, I would like to ask you about the politicians, especially as young leaders, in this particular space. What are we doing as young leaders to ensure that there is justice administered in this country? When you take up a leadership position, certain duties come with it. What steps are we taking to ensure that at least a voice is heard, at least something of certain magnitude is done to ensure that some modicum of justice can be restored? What are young leaders doing? What are the politicians doing?
Okay. Well, thank you for such a question. First of all, I will add my voice to this by calling upon the young people to take up positions because this would help them to, bring about policies that will help reconstruct this country and make it better, like Dr. Miria already put it.
But we're not short of policies in this country, are we?
We have the policies, but I mean, there has to be a push. There has to be that push.
So what are the young leaders now that are there now? Because we are not short of young leaders as well. What are they?
Me, I'm sorry to intervene because who hasn't tried to be a leader? haven't they been trying to be leaders?
Yeah.
Haven't they been arrested? Haven't they been killed? Some of them have disappeared. So you address that issue. How can they? Where is the environment? I mean, where is the environment? Even those who have tried, have they survived? Where is the environment now under which they can come out? That's why they are not even with this thing which is paining everybody. I was wondering and saying, by the way, at least, where is FDC? At least, why can't it go on the street? At least, where are they? Because do you know the one who nurtured the Speaker of Parliament and the Deputy Speaker? Do you know? It is Besigye. You check, you go, you know how to tweet, you know all these things. Besigye, I mean, the speaker, the current Speaker of Parliament, the current Deputy Speaker of Parliament, they were all in FDC, having been nurtured by Besigye. Now I even wonder, Besigye now is dying in prison. What are they doing? I haven't even, has any speaker gone to visit Besigye in prison? Because when you are all politician, me, I used to go to prison. Every opposition whom they arrest, I go to see them because I say next time it is me who will be there. Now, have you seen these people? Which members of parliament, apart from the opposition, tell me, which members of parliament, apart from these, the NUPU and maybe DP and Rukwago, has gone to see Besigye as an outstanding Ugandan? Who has gone there?
Honorable Chris Barrymans, you want to visit him?
Don't talk to me of that guy. Don't talk to me. Oh, you talk to me of Chris Barrymans. You talk to me of that person. If he had a human heart also. You remember how I was on TV with her on NBS, and she faced me and said, you go to President Museveni in the night and beg money. Can a man like that? Don't you think he's lying? If you could lie in my presence and say that I went to State House and stole and got money from the president, and in any case, how can I even blame Barrymans? Because when he said that, and Museveni knew it was a lie, and he was getting embarrassed in public, a horror minister saying that in the night, people go to him to get money, to be bribed. You think if this was a credible president of integrity, he would have called upon his minister, please, don't embarrass me like that. Go and withdraw that statement which you said. But they are all the same. They are all the same. They are liars. They are hypocrites. They are sharks. They are, I don't know which word to use. Now, what was he going to see Besigye for? He comforted him. At least if he said, I went and I saw Besigye was bad off and I ordered that he's taken to a hospital. If he said that he was okay, didn't we see Besigye there on the screen? He can't even, he's dry with saliva. Didn't you see this man? And now Barrymans, do you know what Barrymans means?
No.
That name? No. Barrymans or Kwe. It means that they betray their nation. That's what the name means. Barrymans or Kwe. Betraying their nation. That's what it is. So when you don't talk about him here when Matembe is here present.
If I would talk about something real quick, there are certain initiatives going on, and you know most of the young people are doing the work online. Right now there is, but this is an initiative that was started by Dr. Sarah Wirete to collect signatures for the release of Besigye. You can just go on the Civic Space TV and you'll find it's pinned. Yeah. You add your signature and repost so that other people can repost. There is also the Agora Discourse Free Besigye campaign. You can join it, you can retweet, you can talk about it, you can share.
And then what happens?
Yes, I wanted to ask, do you believe in the
because I have signed already.
There is a walk scheduled for Wednesday. Is it 19th?
Don't even announce. You scheduled it, they meet you. I'm sorry to disturb you. Why don't you behave like Museveni? He says that for me, I do my things underground. I will finish them. Didn't hear him when he was addressing Ugandans in Fort Portal sometime. I don't know whether it was last year when. He said for me, joke with me. I do my things underground and very soon I will be finishing them. He said it. You go and look for that statement there. So if you want to demonstrate, why do you announce it? Why I was saying, but these young people, since they know their tweets, since they know their things, why don't they get to record whatever or sign or whatever, which people will not understand? And you are clever, me, I don't know this thing. But you could put there that thing and everybody who sees it knows the plan and which you are making. And then all of a sudden, they see you advance. But now you announce. They have like him, he says, don't you think by the time he called to Besigye to get him die in the prison, he had done it underground. And so many have been underground. He said it. I'm not telling a lie. If he came to arrest me, I would say, didn't you say it in Fort Portal? Don't you know? You know, people keep bringing. That's why social media, it is bad in many ways, but it is good in some ways because it has evidence. It has evidence. You go and dig. You go quieter and do what you are doing. And then for us, the senior citizens, we have already done our part. And me, I have always done it. Because my biggest talent is my mouth. I've used it. All of you should get up to your biggest talents and use them for delivery of this nation.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you can go on. And tell us the consequence of signing. Because I signed, I'm waiting for the next step after signing.
Actually, Nancy, I'll come back to you, but please, Barbra,
Yes,
go ahead.
I was still deliberating until my colleagues came in to add on a voice. But what I was trying to say is I was still speaking to us getting the vigor, because this is still leadership, right? Doctor says that probably we can get underground and do, the young people can do the plans so that it definitely gets to mature. But what I'm trying to say is I think this now speaks to integrity, because when we see the young people back then, those ones who walked naked on the street trying to advocate for corruption, we saw majority of them being arrested.
All of them.
Yes, they were arrested. There were those ones who were doing those who were doing the media sort of campaign. Those ones, others were saved. Meanwhile, others were still in the same docket. So it still speaks to, even if we are, I think this is going to be a process. It's going to take us a process. Like we said, the policies, the good policies that we have are already there. But I think the individuals that are driving the policies, can we get up to our ground? Let the young people that think that they can occupy certain positions go but speak with integrity. We spoke of independence of the arms of government, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. If the young people, for example, we are lawyers, we take up to such positions and we speak the values and the integrity there, regardless of what force pushes you there. Of course, you fear for your life, you fear for a lot of iniquities that probably you think are happening or are, that may come your way if you stood firm. But I think it's now about us building. Can the judiciary or the people there stand firm? Can the legislature, those ones who are, speaking to making the laws in the country, can they stand firm and be steadfast in whatever they do? So if we collectively as young people push for those positions that we think are not the persons occupying them are not doing what is actually expected of them, that I think we can make and create change as young people that we can do. For a meantime, we can advocate for what is right, but also we can try and push to ensure that the persons that are facing these injustices are brought out. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you comment on the fate of the president of Law Society? He's a young person. He decided to stand up and question the judiciary, the whatever is happening. Where is he? What has happened? You talk, tell them. You are not aware of that?
I am quite aware of, of course.
He came up with vigor, vibrant. He wants to justice, good things, no corruption, no what. How has he ended now?
I want to think it's not a one-man thing. You occupy the position, but you should have the support of the people that are around you. I mean, him as the president of the Law Society was trying to do something good. He was trying to turn tables around, bang them, and
They are
ensure
with
that
him,
justices
the
are
colleagues.
and I think a majority of the lawyers were on his part. But also where people will now disagree with the modus operandi, how he was trying to do it. Yeah, because well, in as much as sometimes you get that piece that you want to bring out, to ensure that there is an immediate change. Now that calls for the anger that he pushed it. I remember one day on a Twitter space that was having lawyers, that even our lecturers, it says you cannot ask questions, you're legal dwarfs. So I mean, it's trying to bring in change to help us understand. It's trying to help us understand that you've not understood the law, or if you've understood it, you're actually trying to do the contrary. So please get back to probably your admin law and try and read them and articulate things the way they're supposed to be. But again, you see that now this has frustrated those that could give him the morale to ensure that his push or his mission is accomplished. I mean, I only disagree in the modus operandi, but in terms of how he wanted and he was pushing as a young person to ensure that justice was realized, yeah, he was banking.
But what did what did the first son call the parliament? Idiots, crowns. Who has arrested him? Who has stopped him from saying all that, which is wrong? And the parliament is a big institution, and I'm sorry, but I'm bringing these things so that you may be able to see openly what is happening. Because if the Law Society says, he said people are idiots. Now, what about this now? The son, who is even saying, he said that the parliament, they are crowns, they are idiots. And then he's saying that judiciary must come and ask him for forgiveness for talking about refusing the military court. Now, there he is, commander-in-chief, and he's one of the young people now. That is the environment under which we are operating. And putting forward an environment, if you are to talk of justice, who is arresting that one and charging him?
Justice shouldn't depend on the numbers behind you, should it? It should just depend on the fact that you are an individual, you're a human being. Human rights are inherent. They're not granted to us by numbers behind us or
if I can also say something, I feel like while we are discussing double standards right now, I feel like for as long as we have people who still prescribe to a certain idea that continuously oppresses people like this, we cannot say that we can work together, because we know that young people who have worked together with other young people have been sabotaged, they have been reported, and yet, you go out there and you say this is a young people's agenda, and yet you subscribe to a certain political standing that is obviously not working anymore. I have to bring that out to you, that this presents a double standing. You're defending something that is undefendable.
I think it's not about defending where I stand, but I think initially from the onset I said right is right and wrong is wrong. And I think I have stood in my explanation to always say that let the right thing be done. Let the right thing be done, and let it be done in the right way. Why I said the majority, I mean the institutions. Let all these other institutions, I do not mean individuals, let all these other institutions be there to defend what is right. And because
but the point is, in 2026 and during this election year, you are still going to stand behind those people who perpetuate these things. This is what I'm trying to say, that you're going to stand behind those people because they are your people, they are your party. And
this one is NRM. Oh, so you can't see anything wrong. I'm sorry, I didn't know that you're NRM.
Not really that.
Because
Mama,
we didn't know who is who here. But me, Mama, that's why she cannot openly call a spade a spade. Let us forgive her. That's what they are with Bariomus and the whole team.
But it's not about subscribing to a certain political party. Yes. Like I openly said in the opening statement, that it is an umbrella. Just like she subscribes to PPP, we cannot say that PPP is 100% right in all that it does. There are ideologies that certain political parties follow. However, we we as young people find umbrellas under which we can be mentored into leadership. Now, you should open your eye to know what is right and what is not right. And that's why I'm here seated to say that let the right thing be done. Let all the institutions follow what is right. And definitely we shall have a change of all that it takes for us to be okay.
So in the case of Dr. Kizza Besigye, what is right, what is wrong, who is right, who is wrong?
I started, I think, from the onset when I said that how he was arrested from Kenya.
Arrest, why don't you see abducted?
In a word sense, he was
It's
abducted.
abduction, why do you say arrest?
From Kenya.
Now
And,
that I know where you belong,
Uganda-
you are going to see me.
Uganda subscribes to these international laws, and like I said, that this it doesn't require, you cannot arrest somebody from a foreign country, even if they've committed a crime back in a country.
Without due process.
So yes, now that
So-
was not something that was really right. Him being tried in a military court, he was just a normal person like us. He was not military, given his background that he was a retired colonel. So that was not something that was done right. So I'll stand to point out what is right and what is wrong, and that does not date to what I subscribe to.
So everything is wrong. Even
That
putting
entire
him
process.
sick in the hospital, denying him
speaking
hospital
to
is
humanity,
wrong.
like we said, human rights require that we really have to, there is freedom of expression. Even if somebody had stood up to say that, I think I want to take over the government. But I mean, if he had not done it in a way that is quite treacherous, and it's, you know, there is no proof to that, I don't think he will come out to say, I've arrested you.
In our current
Because of this.
reality, a meme can
Now-
take you to jail.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that if he was found in the wrong, then let the right thing be done.
Okay.
But
But
again,
you know, before he goes-
like I said earlier on, presumption of innocence, under Article 28, that before one is found, before you are actually taken to jail, there should be, you should be found guilty of a certain charge. So it's like for him, he was already guilty before he was even taken through the trials. So that is not the right thing that was done. So I will stand to point out the gaps, but still, it doesn't stop me from subscribing to an umbrella that I subscribe to. It's just an umbrella for mentorship, just like any other person.
Mentorship in which direction?
No,
Anyway,
there is having a sense of belonging, like an
Mentorship
umbrella where you
indeed.
belong. To me, political parties are umbrella where everybody belongs. That's why you will go and subscribe to NUP. She'll go and subscribe to PPP. I'll subscribe to NRM. Any other person will be independent and wherever. But still, it's about you and your principles and your values and standing in your integrity to identify the gaps. Can you point out those gaps? Can you participate? What is your role in
So,
ensuring that the right thing is done?
After
for
pointing
me,
them out.
before that,
Because,
I want to
anyway,
agree
not
with her
forgetting that
she
we are
points,
describing, we
she
are,
points, but I want, he brought a point which I had not even raised, that even if Besigye was doing something that was so bad, like taking over the government or whatever, we all know that this army commander, Mhozi, got out onto the street, mobilized people, and said he's going to be the next president. Okay? Everybody knows that. And tell me, in a country where a military chief of staff, army commander, the other one is chief of armed forces,
Chief of Defense Forces.
of defense forces. I mean, the father is what? Commander in chief. The son is chief of defense forces. I want you to tell me, in a country where the chief of defense forces gets out there, he's an army man, according to this constitution, the military is subordinate to citizens, is even like a directorate in one of the ministries, like of defense. That's why he is. And he's supposed to be in charge of the military. And he comes and says, I want to contest. I want to contest with President Museveni. I'm the next president. I want you to tell me, if this was anybody, not the son of Museveni, if it was an ordinary, usual military man who is an army commander who can come out and say, I'm the next president, sir, although I'm now your army commander. I want you to tell me, do you know what happened when Tinyefuza said just even a statement? And when, who is this man also whom they arrest all the time? Tumukunde, you know, those people. Now, do you, as a member of your umbrella, do you ever see such things which are incredible and wrong and say they are wrong? Because Besigye, we don't know what he did. They say, for instance, he did something to overthrow government. But there is this son of him who went outside in public and started mobilizing and eventually had to say, where I have withdrawn because my father, Civic. Do you see any army commander who would not have been a son declaring that and remain as an army commander, not being arrested, promoted to prison, instead he is promoted? Please be honest. If you want to, you talk of integrity, you talk of justice, you talk of fairness, please put it on the table and say no. Now, for Besigye, we don't know what he did, but this one we knew. What he did is comes out and says, I'm the next president, and you are the army commander. And you even now, didn't you see how he said that he's going to mobilize his people of PLU and they will demonstrate against these idiots and crowns in parliament? Did he do it or he didn't? They did, didn't they? They went and demonstrated. I mean, for me, I am here to speak the truth, to tell Ugandans what is wrong and what is right. Surely, when you are there in that umbrella of yours, are those things right? Are they right? And are we supposed to continue with that kind of political environment under which people are suffering? They are being ruled by the army commander and chief of the armed forces as if that's all Ugandans we have. And if you have a person like Besigye who says, no, we must organize ourselves and resist, then he must die in prison.
Okay, ladies, this has been a very, very interesting show. We have come to the end of this show.
Oh,
and as we end this show, I would like to, one of the...
Hey, but how have we ended?
Points.
We have to make an appeal.
Yes, one of the most pertinent points, we're transitioning into this dynamic. One of the most pertinent points of this discussion was that what can we do as citizens? What can everyone do in this country in their different statuses, in their different areas? What can they do to ensure that freedom for all is guaranteed, or freedom for all is something that comes to life? So as we're giving our closing remarks, I would like us to touch on this pertinent topic of the role of everyone else in this country as we go forward. Honorable Miria Matembe, I will start with you in regards to the closing remarks.
If you begin with me, I've been talking, I want to tell Ugandans, all of Ugandans, to be honest and see the current situation at play. Or it's because many of them are young, they don't know where we came from. Because where we are at a situation where it is desperate, where Uganda has been reduced to being owned by President Museveni and his family, which is completely wrong. They should see that. Let the Holy Spirit open their eyes and they see that Uganda as a nation has been captured by the family of President Museveni. Number 2, let them raise up and stop fear. Because every Ugandan, most of the Ugandans out there, they fear for their lives, they fear for their jobs. There are those who fear for their lives and those who fear for their jobs. Those who fear for their lives, I want to tell them, you should never fear what will happen to you. All of us will die one time or another. And if it is not yet for your time to die, you will be. So stop fearing and raise up in courage and resist what is wrong. And those who are fearing for their jobs, they should know that God is the provider. Even if they lose a job today, because they've stood for what is right, they will still live. I mean, they threw me out into the garbage, so-called garbage, 19 years ago, but I fell in God's grace, in the hands of God. And up to now, here I am, I'm still okay and I'm still talking because my defender, my protector, my rock is my God. So I'm giving the message to those people. And then the message of those Ugandans, stop greed. Stop greed. Greed for materialism. Greed for power. All these people who are in office of leadership, the umbrella you are talking about, they're just driven to leadership by self-centeredness. Greed. They are not driven by service to the people. We need a leadership which is people-oriented and you know, it is people-oriented and service-centered. You are centered. You are in this leadership, not as self-centered to do your what? You get power to use it to serve the people, not getting power to use it to accumulate wealth. Please rise up and pick the morals and the ethical values of humanity. Each of you out there. And as for you who know the Lord, rise up day and night and cry to the Lord so that he may hear us, forgive us and heal our land, which is really sick.
Thank you, Honorable. Nancy, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. There's something that there's an appeal that I have for people, especially those who have their conscience shackled. And I said having their conscience shackled because when we go online there, or when we see these news outlets, or when we hear people talk, sometimes we even hear people who say that that there are certain people who deserve this thing. And for me, I like to call that habit othering. You group a certain group, you group other people into, you categorize other people differently, and then you say that because of who they are or what they stand for, they deserve injustice, they deserve bad things, they deserve to die. And for me, I want people to unshackle their conscience and see it for what they are. Because in any system of oppression, when the most oppressed person disappears, the next person is you. And it is the truth. Whether you like it or not, if it wasn't Dr. Besigye, it would have been somebody else. And for us to actually see this nation coming to the state of governance that we desire, we need to be more upright about things. We need to talk the truth. We need to recognize each other's humanity, and we need to understand that everyone deserves justice and everyone deserves to stay in a country that is free and, you know, to live their lives peacefully with their families. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Nancy. Go ahead, Barbara.
Well, thank you so much, our viewers, for coming to the very end. My message to you is, to the young people, there are times when you can test the waters with both legs, and there are times when you can test with one leg before you can drop the other. When it's your time, take up the mantle, but do not get discouraged. There is always still hope to push to the very end. This country is ours, and we're not going to relinquish. If you have the mouth to talk like our senior, talk it out. And if you have your hands to write, do the writing. But we're all moving fast forward in truth, justice, determination, but above all, the personal development that shall take us to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the close of this show. The topic we have discussed here is not one of simply human rights or the state of governance in this country or the political state of this country. It is a matter of basic humanity. The humanity would extend to another person, our neighbor, our friend, our brother, our sister. It is a matter of our human conscience. Does it still exist? Our country's conscience. Is it bundled up in some corner, catching dust somewhere? So today, my call to you is that unshackle that conscience. As individuals, we have the power. As citizens, we have the power in our hands to make a lasting change, a change that would actually warrant, a change that would be proud to transfer from ourselves to the next generation. So unchain the shackles of our conscience. Thank you and have a good afternoon.